Hey, what is up guys, welcome back to another video, and in this video we're going to be continuing on with our SwiftUI tutorial series, and in this particular tutorial we're going to be taking a look at how we can retrieve the horizontal and vertical size classes in SwiftUI applications. Now this is particularly useful if you need to change your user interface based on the orientation of your device or based on what kind of device your app is running on, solely based on the size and all of that sort of stuff you can do using the size class values that you can retrieve. Now, that's not the only thing you can do or should do depending on the scenario, but it is important to know how to utilize or how size classes can be utilized in an application. So, for this video, we're not going to be running the application on the Mac, but we're going to be running it on a simulator, though the size classes, horizontal and vertical size class environment keys that we're going to be referencing today, they do work on the Mac. So don't worry about that. Those are cross-platform. All right. So how then do we get these values? Well, again, much like with the OpenURL environment value, we need to use the environment property wrapper. So let's go into Xcode. And go to the top of our view here, and we'll say at environment, pass it a key path, \dot, and the first one we're going to do is horizontal size class. And we'll call this variable hSizeClass. All right. So we can display this in our user interface pretty easily by saying text and then using string interpolation to inject it into a string here. And then these are optional, so we will unwrap that, just like that, save, run. And once that is done, here we are in our application in the iPhone 16 Pro Max. You can see the text says compact. That means that our horizontal size class for iPhone 16 Pro Max is compact. Now, size classes have one of two values, regular or compact. Now, on the iPhone, most of the time, not always, but most of the time, horizontal size classes in portrait mode are going to be compact, and vertical is going to be regular. Again, that's not all the time, but it's most of the time. In landscape, it's the opposite most of the time, where vertical size class will be compact and the horizontal size class will be regular. Again, that's not the case on every iPhone model, but on most iPhone models, it's pretty much a guarantee with, asterisk guarantee, that the vertical is going to be compact. All right. So, and then on the iPad, I should mention, horizontal and vertical size classes are always going to be regular. All right, so with that, let's go ahead and retrieve the verticalSizeClass. And we can do that the exact same way that we got the horizontalSizeClass value at environment /dot verticalSizeClass, and we will call this vSizeClass. All right, and then we'll say text, use string interpolation, vSizeClass, and unwrap that. We'll hit replace here, and then it'll run the app again. Here we are in the simulator. And you can see now we have regular because the verticalSizeClass of the iPhone 16 Pro Max is regular. Now there is an entire page in the Apple developer documentation under the human interface guidelines that shows you what the size classes horizontally and vertically are in both landscape and portrait for every Apple device currently supported by the latest versions of iOS. I'll link that in the description below. Let's go ahead and rotate this simulator like that. And now we can see horizontal is regular and compact for vertical. We'll put this back in portrait mode, and you can see the values immediately change. Now, if we go back into Xcode, and we jump to the definition of these keys, all right, so you can see that there are certain operating systems where these aren't supported. So if we read the documentation here, let's see here. So you can see here that when you run a macOS application with these environment keys, the size class on macOS for vertical and horizontal will always be regular. On watchOS, these size classes will always be compact. So keep that in mind. Though you can use them, they're not on macOS and watchOS, they're not quite as useful on those platforms. They're much more useful on, for example, the iPhone and the iPad. More specifically on the iPhone. Alright, that pretty much does it for this video on how we can get the different size class values from the SwiftUI environment. Thank you all so very much for watching, and we'll see you in the next video.